It's just trying to think how we're so diverse. That's basically what she's saying, but I was learning on my history class how we all supposedly come from Africa. Okay. And basically what he's trying to say is how we all changed due to the environment, and that's how we are all different physically.
Okay, go ahead.
And not all black.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't so much agree with that.
Would you say that there is some weight, there is some truth, there is some facts to what he says, and that he quite eloquently was able to give, examples and elaborate on it, or was he just a jerk that kind of was smart and was able to be creative about it? Which one?
It was just an early form of stereotyping, really. I mean, like, it had to come from somewhere, and that's kind of like what he did.
So then let me ask you this. So if you have someone, let's say, that lives in Poland, and you have someone, and they're both born from the same mother, they're both European, and they're both born of the same mother, and then you have someone that is raised in Brazil, are they going to look alike? Are they going to have the same complexion? Are they going to have the same amount of melanin? No? Why not? So then there could be some truth to what he's saying. It may not just be stereotypical. There may be a bit of weight to what he's saying. So what part of it do you feel was racist or was stereotypical? Like, what part of it did you read and think, well, that's rubbish. Go ahead.
What was rubbish was the mentality that he attached. I thought the nature of things that he was talking about. I mean, just even in the States, if you meet someone from a sunny place, they got. I don't know if that's being stereotypical. There's a sunshine does something to the body,
right?
And the mind. It makes you feel better.
Right.
And, when you step in the sun, or when you're in the cold, you are kind of grumpy. Do not talk to me. It's cold. I'm trying to make it in. So when he talks about the natural aspects of things, of how it can make a person feel better and do better, I can go with that. But when he talks about it'll make you lazy and crazy and all that.
It was a
that was stereotyping. I think his mentality was a war mentality. He was a man of war.
Right.
So if you don't fight and be disruptive, or so to speak, then you're a coward. If you just want to lay back and enjoy the sunshine, that part is just that you are what you eat type thing.
Right.
That's what he does, so he thinks that's what everybody else
So what was interesting to me is when I thought about some of the most powerful forms of martial arts, I thought about Asia. And so it was interesting to me the way he spoke about Asians being docile. Like there's an excerpt that I like to read where he said, they, meaning Asiatics, are less warlike than Europeans and tamer of spirit, for they are not subject to those physical changes and the mental stimulation which sharpen temperament and induce recklessness and hot-headedness. So for me, I kind of got that they're cool, and that when it comes to war, they're very strategic and they get the job done, as opposed to thinking, you know what I mean? And, it was just interesting to me because I did see the bias, and it was hard because within it there was so much truth that it made it difficult for me to be for, or against him. Let me ask you this, because this is kind of where I want to involve, ancient times. How would you say that weather controls war? What do you think it has to do with it? Do you think it has anything to do with it? Does it matter if you're, fighting in the rain or on, dry land? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think if the land gets dry and you cannot produce any agriculture goods, you're going to try to fight to get them from other people. Okay. So that will like instigate fights
Okay.
or war or whatever.
Are you asking, I'm trying to get, he was next actually.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that weather definitely plays a huge part in any kind of battle, because just a great example is the Battle of Normandy. When they
Right.
invaded France, almost didn't happen
Right.
because the weather had been so bad. And this is, 40s technology,
Right.
far advanced to anything that they would have had 1,000 years ago and beyond.
Right.
So if it has that great effect, how could it not have a magnanimous effect?
Vanessa, you play soccer.
Yes.
So how does it affect, like if your team plays a lot in the snow and in the rain, and you're up against a team that may not be used to that kind of, weather so much. I don't know what it's like in Canada, but like how does it affect the skill of the soccer player?
Well, in Canada, we play in hail, snow, rain, any kind of weather. So
Okay.
we kind of go, when I come down here, anywhere in America, I see a lot of people don't have that equipment like Under Armour, so they're not able to actually play their best. So that kind of does have a factor to it, even the weather. Wind has a factor to it. If you play on artificial grass, the ball rolls faster than regular grass. I mean, not regular grass, real grass, sorry guys. Yeah, so it does have a factor. So if you know how to play in any kind of weather, you just, adjust to that.
So if you know how to play in any kind of weather, then you're better prepared.
Yeah.
So if you know how to fight in any weather, you're better prepared.
Correct.
So if you know how to live and to work and to play in any weather, then you're better prepared.
Correct.
So the Europeans are better?
No,
Kind of.
no.
And if it's
Maybe better,
Wait a minute.
maybe better prepared.
What does it depend on?
It depends on what activity or what things you're doing.
I'm talking war.
War?
War.
Yeah,
So Europeans are better?
because when French tried to invade Russia,
Uh-huh.
when they told me, he couldn't do nothing because it was too cold for him. And the deeper he progressed, the harder it became for him. They kept on dying.
Uh-huh.
There was not enough food. It was too cold for his army. They burned down half the town so they couldn't stay in there. And he had to retreat back because there was no way for him. And if it was in France and going to Russia, then Asia going into some European country that's colder than Asia.
What country are you from? What?
Lebanon.
Lebanon. Who else is from Africa in here? Or the Middle East?
Invading Russia is never a good
Okay.
idea.
So you have Europeans invading your country, and it's hot as hell. And they're not used to that. And so they're sweating and they're fainting and they're being affected by the heat. How does that war go?
not well for them.
Somebody said the Muslims win.
Because in that side of that area, it's more, they're used to it. They know how to adjust to it. But when
Right.
people come in that are not used to it, they're gonna lose.
So it's a difference between playing at home and maybe playing away from home, right?
And feel advantage.
What were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, well, perfect example, the Second Crusades, when the entire European forces were captured because they foolishly marched out away from the oasis and they lost their will to fight. And the Muslims just rounded them right up.
Perfect. So, in conclusion, this author, although in many ways could have been seen as offensive, it was very informative, and there were a lot of truths, and it forced us to think about what went down when war took place in different parts of the world, and it made us think about, I guess, the advantages and the disadvantages that the people may have had depending on where they were and what they were used to. It doesn't necessarily make one race or one type of people stronger or weaker or more prepared than the other. It just is what it is. If two sets of people are being trained in the same way in their own country, when they move to or when they go to a country that is of the polar opposite, then they're at a disadvantage, and that's always going to be the case, in my opinion. But I thought that it was very interesting because aside from the stereotypes, he spoke about climate, and I think that even when we look at the wars that we have now, climate has got a lot to do with it, and I'm glad that he touched on it. So thank you so much for your participation.